Picture this. You're at the base of a very large mountain. It is super tall, and there's a path that's zigzagging its way up that mountain. At the top of this mountain are all of your slap bass hopes and dreams. Whether it's Marcus Miller songs, Larry Graham tunes, Victor Wooten chops, whatever it is you want to do that you can't, your goal is that top of that mountain. That's what you want to get to. Now, before you start up that path, let's pretend there's an obstacle in the way, a pyramid, that you must first conquer to make it to the trail. So let's pretend there are 3 tiers to this pyramid that are standing between you and starting on your slap bass journey. And maybe you're thinking to yourself, but Max, I'm already halfway up that hill. I'm already halfway up that mountain, and I didn't do this pyramid that you're talking about. Well, now's the time. Number 1 is slap. Or, Larry Graham called it thump. Slapping, thumping. The second tier is going to be muting. Big part of playing bass, even bigger part of playing slap bass. Then finally, the third tier is going to be popping. So stick around. Make sure you watch the whole video, because this is going to launch you, hopefully propel you, get you on a good trajectory, start you rocket shipping up to the top of your slap bass goals, to the top of the slap bass mountain. All right, I'm done with the mountain metaphor. Before I go any further, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you like what you're seeing, let me know. Let me know what you want to watch. If you don't like what you're seeing, let me know anyway. Tell me what I did wrong. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me it's the worst video you've ever seen. First tier of our pyramid, like I said, is slapping. What I'm going to have you think about is thumbs up. I've gone over this in other videos, at least touched on it. There's all these different angles you'll see. Mark King style, he has his bass like up here, Flea is like the opposite. His bass is like at his knees, and he's like this. We're gonna go somewhere right in the middle of that. Closest is Marcus Miller. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put our thumb up. We're gonna try to use the back side here. Gonna get this nice rotate. You want to work on this wrist rotation. We're gonna start with the E string. We're gonna slap. Right now, I just have my fingers laying on the strings. And what we're going to do is we're just going to practice this rotation. Notice how right now my arm isn't moving in and out at all. The next thing to think about, your thumb isn't just landing on the string, right? You want to think about it going past that E string, like a glancing blow, just kind of plucking it, and then your thumb goes past and lands on the A string. And honestly, especially if you're just getting started or you're trying to hone in your technique, maybe try to fix it, make it more efficient, make it better, you could easily just every day sit down, set a timer for like 5 or 10 minutes, and just practice this. Make sure you're doing a nice smooth rotate. You're getting this, that thumb is glancing off the string, hitting the next one. And you can do it on all the strings. So right now, I'm doing the E string. Here's the A. I don't know what just happened with the... Oh, my bass is coming unplugged. Here's the A string. D. Still just muting. And then finally G. G is a little different because you're gonna go through the string and kind of land on the pick guard or the top of your bass if you don't have one. Gradually, over time, it might take you a couple days, couple weeks to build speed. The next step, open strings slapping. Just the next step for slapping. We're not even close to that second tier yet. Don't worry. Practice the E string. Really try to get your tone consistent. consistent sound, something you like. And you can play around with the exact angle of your thumb that works best for you. See, my thumb isn't straight up, but it's not down. It's basically parallel with my bass, is about the angle of my thumb. Hitting that string, going through the string. Not that term, you know, that's confusing. Everyone talks about following through. It's like, what the heck does that mean? Here's one way to think about it. You want your thumb to land on the A string, right? But you're gonna come down with the rotation so that the E string is in the way of getting to the A. That's the easiest way to explain what the follow through or going through the string means. Because if you focus on just hitting the E, you get a little bit different sound. Versus going through, really allowing the whole string to vibrate. Doing it this way, you're kind of getting a little bit of a harmonics in there because you're deadening the string. This way, nice and open when it goes through. The other thing I'm doing already, and then that's from the next tier, is just gently muting with my left hand. Don't worry about it if that's too much. Focus on that right hand for now. Now let's go to the A string, do the same thing. D string. G string. So like I said, you could easily spend 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, however long you can stand to do it, because it's pretty repetitive, but just sitting there practicing this rotating move, really dialing in the sound, the tone. If you don't know how to get your amp set in a way that you like, or the controls on your bass, if you go back and watch my Slap Bass 101, everything you need to know before you slap the bass, I do have a little bit of a section in there on setting up my amp, getting a nice mid-scooped sound. Also, you can just look up other videos on how to get a slap bass tone, because this isn't about that. This is all about technique. So once again, just a refresher, thumb up. And as long as you have your bass like right in the middle of your torso, you don't want it too low and you don't want it too high, right here. And then, boom. Rotate. Follow through the string. Nice full tone. Now, time to talk about slapping. Just kidding, I'm already talking about that. Time to talk about muting. So I've been doing it a little bit, just subconsciously here. The way we're gonna start, we're gonna do a slap and then a mute. And one thing you can do, even if you're an advanced player already or intermediate, if you're not thinking about your muting counts or subdivisions, it's going to add a whole another dimension to your timing and your feel and your groove if you can add that into your playing. If you can be really intentional about when you're muting, how long you're letting the notes ring out, kind of thing. So in this case, let's kind of think of it as eighth notes for now. So we're doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on the numbers, on the beats, we're slapping, and then on the ands, muting with that left hand. Now the A string. And it might take you a little bit to get that finesse just correct, where you're muting with just enough pressure to stop the strings from ringing, but not enough to fret those notes down there and basically do a tapped note. Slap, mute, slap, mute, slap, mute, slap, mute. E, A, D, G, E, A, D, G. The next step for muting, 16th notes. So the rhythm we're slapping with our right hand is going to be 1 and 2 E, a 4 E, 1 E and a 2 E and a E, a 4 E. And after every one of those, we're going to do exactly a 16th note after, we're going to mute. So it sounds like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. Now, if that's really confusing, that's okay. Let me slow it down. Slap, mute, slap, mute, slap, slap, mute. 1. Let's start with that much. Slap, mute, slap, mute, slap, slap, mute. One E and a 2E, 1 E and a 2E, 1 E and a 2E, 1 E and a 2E, and slap mute, slap mute, slap, slap mute. And then basically we have the same thing, slap mute, slap mute, slap, slap mute, but it's shifted by a 16th. The whole thing will be like 1 E and a 2E, and a 3E, and a 4E, 1 E and a 2E, and a E, a 4E, slap mute, slap mute, slap, slap mute, slap mute, slap mute, slap, slap mute. A string now, same pattern. Now D. And G. With the G string there, you can really hear my left hand. Because eventually, once you get the feel for this left hand down, you can turn that into actually a percussive effect sometimes. Like Bart King. Let's do that. Let's go over all 4 strings one more time. 1 and 2E, E, 4E, slap mute, slap mute, slap, slap mute, slap mute, slap mute, slap, slap mute. A string. 1 and 2E, E, 4E, slap mute, slap mute, slap mute, slap, slap mute, slap mute, slap, slap mute. D string and slap mute, slap mute, slap, slap mute, slap mute, slap mute, slap, slap mute. G string. The other kind of muting is when you're fretting a note. We'll do this G here on the E string. Instead of putting your fingers onto the string to mute, we're just barely letting go, and I am kind of putting these other 3 fingers down that aren't playing the note to really stop that string. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and slap mute, slap mute. We'll try that same rhythm we did before. 1 and 2E, E, 4E, and 1E, and 2E, and 3E, and 4E. A string, 3rd fret. D string, 3rd fret. Ready? And G string, 3rd fret. Ready? Go. Make sure this whole time you're maintaining this rotation. You're not coming in and out. You're just doing the rotate, because that's absolutely crucial when we go to the next tier, which we're going to do right now. Talk about popping. We'll just do some real simple octaves. G octave. So stay on this 3rd fret on the E string with our 1st finger. Pinky's gonna go on the 5th fret D string. So we got G, G. For right now, we're just gonna hold those 2 down. What I'm doing the rotation from before, only I'm hooking my 1st finger very subtly under the D string, so that when I rotate back out, it pops that string, plucks it up. So that's why I'm always big on the rotation. Let's try it a little bit, just muting the string. So we'll go E, D, E, D. What does end up happening is, in order to get this pluck to come out, because I don't like it when the leverage causes the bottom of my hand to go down onto the bass. Because you can do that. You can sort of brace your pinky and fourth finger knuckles and sort of pop like that. I don't like that feeling. I don't like the feeling of it hitting down there and that leverage. So one thing I tend to do is I can feel my forearm muscles working just a little bit when I do the pop to keep my arm out. It's not actually moving in and out, maybe a little bit, but mostly it's just they're sort of engaging to act as an anchor so that I don't have to come down and anchor on the bass. I can just have my hand floating and get a nice clean sound. It's not like I'm trying really hard to really pop the string. It's just you're pulling up, and so there's this natural tendency for your wrist to kind of want to collapse and your arm to kind of go down and land on something to brace on. Try to fight against that. You'll feel it as you start working on it here. So it does feel like I'm pulling out with my arm, but it's all that rotation. It's just these muscles becoming an anchor. Now let's try it. Same thing, muted strings, A, G. Same exact principles, same technique. Back to E, D. And don't worry if you can't go fast, take your time. Go as slow as you need to get a nice clean sound. Back to A, G. So here I'm doing E, D, A, G. Let's try octaves now. So we got G octaves. 3rd fret, E string. 5th fret, D string. Back and forth. Now we'll do C octaves, which is the 3rd fret A and 5th fret G string. Back to G and C. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and So next we'll talk about muting. Slap, mute, pop, mute. Basically, it's the difference between just holding them down and making them short and separate, aka staccato. Just as a review, focus on that wrist rotation, thumbs up, slapping through the strings, muting with that left hand, keeping the rotation for the slap pop. Once you've spent some time working on all 3 of these tiers, and you can sort of put all those things together, the octave, slap, mute, and you can do it precise and clean with a good rotation, you, my friend, have reached the top of the pyramid. But it might take you a while to get there. It could take you weeks, it could take you months of just consistent daily practicing. Just 5-10 minutes at minimum. That's all you need. So once you've reached the top of the pyramid, you can officially either start your way up the mountain or go back to where you were before. If you want to know some things to start with, start learning songs that have slap bass. You can also find, I have lots of shorts where I teach little basic bass lines that incorporate all these techniques. Quick side note about shorts. I get so many comments. I'll be teaching some really basic musical idea, like 16th notes, 2/16ths and an eighth, right? I had that one. I'll come up with some riff utilizes hammer-ons. In the same video with the same little just exercise that I created, I'll get dozens of comments. Oh, it sounds like this song. It sounds like this song. It sounds like this song. Oh, this is just like this song. You're just playing this song. But they're all different songs, and they're all right, which I think really shows that if you can focus on these building block fundamentals, it makes it a lot easier to learn any song you want down the road.